Okay, I'm going to apologize ahead of time that this may take more than my normal 2-minute video because I want to cover a couple different topics, and it has to do with processing your lumber once you get it, and also how to preserve it so it doesn't crack. And we're going to start with this piece of pear. It's about was about a 25-inch circumference trunk, and the guy that cut it, unfortunately, cut a nice big piece. But what he didn't do is take the pith out. As you can see, that's the pith right here. And what happens with the pith is that's where all the cracking comes from, because it will dry quicker. More water will come out quicker from here than anywhere else in the wood. And you'll get radial cracks in the wood if you don't take care of this right away. What they should have done when they were cutting the wood is they should have cut another slice right here, and that would have eliminated the pith. And honestly, you could have used the two side pieces as small pieces to make coasters or something else, as long as you eliminated that pith area. But this is what I've got right now, so I'm going to deal with it for the moment. And first thing you do is you want to put some sort of a wax or a sealant of some sort on here to keep the moisture down, and so that it dries evenly, because it will slowly come out of the bark side, and it will slowly come out of the side grain, but the end grain, and I'm going to show you what end grain looks like. The end grain is where most of the water comes out. If you look at this piece here, you can see obviously the grain is going this direction. This would be end grain on both sides, and this is side grain here. When you're turning the bowl, you'll actually feel that this is a little bit rougher. This cuts a little bit smoother, rougher, smoother as it goes around. And if you'll notice this piece here that I did, right there, like, see that white? This is that powdery area. That's where water is coming out of the end grain, and it's interacting with the wax that I put on here. I use a Anchor, but some people use latex paint. I've seen some people use a mixture of wood or white glue and water to thin it out. Some people use a melted paraffin. I did that once on my barbecue. I will not do that again. My concrete still shows wax spots where it was spilled. But there's a lot of different methods, and you can find them all online. Most of them work very well, but the most important part is to cover the end grains, not so much on the side grains, because like I said, you want it to still get the water to leave the wood. These started off at about 20 to 22% moisture. In fact, when I was turning this piece here, you could actually feel the water coming off. I've actually cut pieces where water dripped out of the wood a couple hours after you cut it. So I mean, it is very, very, very wet. On this particular piece, what I did is I was doing what they call twice turning, which is you turn it down to about 10% excess. So if this was like a 10-inch bowl, you'd want about an inch or so on each side. And on this one, you'll see that the end grain, again, that white powdery stuff there, kind of bluish white, is the water trying to escape from this bowl. And even though it was turned perfectly round, you can see it's also got a tiny bit of warp to the edge even now. And I left this in the center because I want to be able to kind of see how it gets a little bit more oval. And I'll explain that to you here. But you see all my other pieces. See that white there? See the white here? They're all starting to get rid of the water through the end grain, even as I'm filming this. This one I turned a long time ago, and it was perfectly flat bottomed, and you can see what's happened. It's pulled in the center. It's curved on the outsides. It's not round at all. And you can obviously see the grain went this way. And what it does is you end up with an oval bowl, and you can do that once you understand how the wood works and you've worked with a couple pieces. You can actually use this to your advantage to make a more interesting bowl than just round bowls, as an example. This one is really warped even in the center. It's bumped up where it bumped down there. It's bumped up in the center here. It's rough, but it still has a nice feel to it, and nothing's cracked. This crack was in here actually when I turned it, so it has not cracked anymore. and has preserved itself very well. And now it's in a dry state where it's not going to do that anymore. But what's happened is the grain pulled here and raised here a little and pulled in, as you can see. And so it as it warps, you can actually predict which way the grain is going to go. I would suggest that you watch a couple of videos on either twice turned bowls. There's one from turnawoodbowl.com with Kent. He does a really good job on his videos of showing you all the parts about doing a twice turned bowl. There's a few others out there too. And it's a good skill to have if you want to get the most out of your bowls, especially large bowls, because they really contain a lot of water, and you'd be surprised what process goes through. These are going to take 6 months or longer to get down to a manageable, quote-unquote, dry state of wood. And so any questions that you have about this, you can look at some of my other videos, or like I said, go to one of the other ones online. Sorry this took so long, but please hit the subscription button down at the bottom, or the other button will take you to my website where I have more videos, and I'm posting pretty regularly right now, and we'll have more tips for you soon.